Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is Tommo and welcome to my pre-race Chinwag for the 2024 Austrian Grand Prix. Roll intro. Hello everyone. Decided to do this one a bit later in the day. It's mainly because I've been busy today, but also it's a bit later, so it's a bit cooler because it's boiling. As you can see, look at how red I am. Look at my hay fevery eyes. Pollen, up yours, right? That's all I've got to say to pollen. I am perfectly blending in to the pinkness of this channel right now. But here we are. Welcome everyone. Thank you all for coming. Ethan, Ozemhagen, Daniel, Joe, F1 Dude Edits, Kane, IBK, Dumda, David, Daniel, Niels, Emma, SC, Seamus, Professor, Farrow, Narwhal, Tim, Tina, LD Taylor, Mike, Jamie, Darkman. Thank you everyone who's watching live on YouTube. Thank you to everyone who's watching after the fact on YouTube. And of course, thank you to everyone who's listening. Ears, right? One of them. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all that good stuff. Thank you for coming. Thank you for supporting what I do. And also, I know some of you are like, oh, why are you not watching the football? Why are you doing this during the football? Georgia are playing Portugal. They're 1-0 up. Scored within first 2 minutes. Good finish on the break. Mistake from Portugal. Good goal. I'll keep an eye on that as we go. But we are not here to talk about Euro 2024. No, we are not. And we're certainly not talking about England. We're certainly no. This is an England-free zone. No. We are talking about the 2024 Austrian Grand Prix. Round 11. Almost halfway through. I am sweating. Can't lie. Now, of course, this time last year, 2023 Austrian Grand Prix, I went. I was fortunate enough to go. I did a video. I met a few of you guys who support what I do and made a video. It was fun. Went on the Friday and Saturday sprint weekend. So got to see quali in person, got to see the sprint. Now, obviously, I remember the sprint very well because it was raining. I was set up at turn 3. That's when Perez squeezed Verstappen onto the grass, and then Checo returned the favour into turn 3. Max returned the favour, should I say, into turn 3. Pushed Checo right off, got the dub, ended up taking the win quite convincingly on Sunday. 20 seconds he was ahead. And then he pitted for softs and took fastest lap. So he actually extended that lead beyond 20 seconds. When I watched the highlights earlier, it was 20 with 10 laps to go. But then he finished 4 seconds ahead of Charles, but on soft tyres. So he obviously continued to extend that gap, pitted for softs, got fastest lap as well. But to be fair, the most memorable part, I would say, in the grand scheme of the season was where things turned around for, well, Lando Norris's McLaren anyway. This was the race where he got the upgrade on his McLaren that took them from 6th, 7th best car right up, okay? Because Oscar didn't get the upgrade and he was kind of nowhere that weekend. He was way down the order, was Oscar. So, yeah, look, I think that this track typically delivers a pretty banging race. And obviously we've got a sprint weekend, so we get an extra race. I am warm into the sprints with time. I still think there's a couple of things with the format they could do, but I am gradually warm into them. I'm not going to lie. And of course, yes, Tina, track limits galore. It was crazy, but shouldn't be a problem this year. I was reading an article from Chris Medland earlier. There is going to be AI, the use of artificial intelligence, to basically, it's almost like the semi-automated offside that we've got at Euro 24 right now. But for track limits at Austria, so we shouldn't get all this post-race nonsense with all these punishments coming out of. Because the problem with that is that you are not enabling the teams and drivers to know where they stand. To know where you stand. For example, the year before, it was 21, wasn't it, last lap Lando? When he knew that Lewis had a 5-second penalty, Lando could put the hammer down and close that gap. Knowing where you stand I think is important, and it shouldn't come after the race, because knowing where you stand, I think there's a right for these teams and these drivers to know where they stand in the moment. So, was it 2020? Jeez. Oh my days. Time flies. I can't believe that was 2020. Last lap Lando. Shocker. Shocker. Also, welcome everyone who's all the names I'm not so familiar with in these live chats, because I'm doing this later on in the day. That's like a nice little, you know what? You know, it's a nice little benefit of. I know I usually do these midday UK time, but you know what? 9 p.m. Why not? Why not? Indeed. Also, thank you for the super chats. I will go through them shortly. But let's talk about where we sit in the driver's standing, shall we? Because this was a dominant Max Verstappen victory last time out. And, well, we're 69 points ahead, nice, of Lando Norris. But I think the way things seem to... The consensus was, and I do agree, that the McLaren was the fastest car last weekend. I feel like I am seeing too many people just being like, the McLaren's now the fastest car. Like, there's not just one car that's fastest on every track. Okay, if this Grand Prix was Monaco, it would be the Ferrari. If this Grand Prix was Suzuka, I think it'd still be the Red Bull. Spain was the McLaren. Mercedes, I mean, they're pretty quick in Canada. Like, there's not... It's that close at the front now that there isn't just this consistent quickest car. Red Bull have been quickest for a long time over every type of track, but that is no longer the case. That is definitely no longer the case, which is great to see. And it makes it a lot more unpredictable. And to be fair, even going into Spain, I expected Red Bull to be still by a bit of a margin quicker than McLaren. But the fact that Lando was able to put the pace in that he was relative to Max, and I do believe Max is the better, the more complete, the more consistent driver. The fact that, you know, if Lando stays ahead into turn one, I think it's game, set, match. So time will tell how things change going forward, because of course last season at Austria, prior to the Austrian Grand Prix, the McLaren again 6th, 7th best car. After the Austrian Grand Prix, third, maybe third best car. Teams can turn this around quick. Then obviously you've got Aston Martin, which we'll talk about in a bit, who they can't seem to bring an upgrade. They changed their car and it doesn't seem to improve the grade of it, which is becoming slightly frustrating for Fernando Alonso, understandably, to be fair. Look, 69 points is a big deficit to have to overcome. I mean, there's a lot of races to go. I get it. But that's still a significant deficit to overcome. For there to be a championship fight, okay, that really goes the distance, it's not just a matter of Max dropping points. It's a consistent car that is second best, really. Right now, it feels like Lando. You go a few races back and you say, it feels like Charles the guy who's going to be able to challenge Lando and to be able to challenge Max. Now it feels like Lando. Will it change again later this year? I mean, look, the Mercedes had such a bad start to the season relative to where they are now. You know, if they're starting taking P2s away from Lando, P2s away from Charles, even wins away, you know, whether we get a championship fight, whatever happens, even though McLaren maybe have the most complete car right now, maybe they do. But Lando still needs to rely on luck, on things outside of his control as well. Luck for Max Verstappen, I almost called him Mustappen. Max Verstappen to have his issues. He needs to rely, that's luck, that's out of his control, right? Whether the engine blows up, whether he has a, you know, tank slapper and hits the wall, whatever, which is very out of character for Max. Doesn't happen very often. Or he needs to rely on, you know, other teams, either him finishing ahead or them ballsing up their upgrades. And it seems like Mercedes have cooked finally. It took a while. It took a long time to cook, did Mercedes, but they seem to be cooking somewhat now. And who knows with Ferrari? I mean, it feels like, again, this formula seems to be changing every weekend. I mean, you look at where Williams and Sauber were in Spain. Sauber were pretty clear of Williams, really. on pace, and that has not been the case for most of this year. Sauber didn't even bring an upgrade. They chucked Joe in his old chassis, and he got P13. He was very happy. So, you know, it's very difficult to say. It does, you know what? It does kind of. You have to. Yeah, I've got a lot of time for Twitter. I've had some very. I think Twitter serves a purpose, and I enjoy it a lot. I also detest it sometimes. But some of the arguments I saw. What was it? A post. What was it? It was talking about Piastri, yeah, and it was like Piastri P6 in the best car, fraud. I'm like, no, there's no way someone actually like has used the brain that they were bestowed to come to that conclusion. That must be bait, and if that's not bait, it gives me no hope for the human species. Like, because okay, yes, it may be the quickest car right now. Okay, maybe it is, but was it at the start of the season though? Would Lando typically get the full upgrade package slightly earlier than Oscar? Not all the time, but typically you're going to give preference to Lando, of course. And also, Oscar's had some stinking luck. I mean, who can account for the safety car man? But I don't know. Maybe it's maybe I'm just getting triggered by people going for bait on the old internet. Who knows, right? Maybe. Also, it's still 1-0 to Georgia, by the way. Just a little update for everyone. Oscar does need to pick it up, though. He does, okay? He does. He did make the mistake in qualifying in Spain, and that did rob him of an opportunity to take points off of... This is what I mean, right? If Piastri qualifies well, finishes ahead of both Ferraris, that could pay dividends by the end of the year. Maybe. Just for the team as a whole, right? So that's important. And I think Oscar's found him in a little bit of a rut somewhat, but also his time will come, okay? Oscar's time will come. And certainly not terrible, not by any stretch. But yeah, that's how the driver standings are looking after 10 of 24 race weekends. Checo's been on like 111 points for like a while now, hasn't he? I feel like I saw a graphic in the last so many races. It was like Checo scored 8 points and Max has scored like 83, I think. But again, it's that just initial peak and then right at the end it'd be penalty to Georgia. Nice. Keep me updated on how that goes, people. Thank you. Yeah, Luca, good to see you. Right, so team standings. I mean, look, do any of us really care about the Constructors? I mean, it's something, I guess. If Red Bull don't win that, and Max still comfortably wins the title, I guess maybe it's something. You know what? I did find myself weirdly, kind of excited by what was it last year? Williams and AlphaTauri scrapped for P7. Have I got the right two teams there? I feel like that was. I feel like I remember. Maybe I was just pretending to be excited, just to try and feel something. Who knows? George actually got a penalty. That's actually mad. Well, look, I mean, we'll see. This Euros has been throwing up some surprises. As much as everyone's dogging on England, and I get it. Trust me, I get it. But, you know, Austria won their group. I thought Austria would slap. I'm not even joking. Anyway, sorry, I digress. I'm really... Is anyone else really hot? Like, it's really hot in here. I should have brought the fan in. So I'll do it at 9:15. It'll be nice and cool by now. It's not nice and cool by now, okay? And this is the room. Some of you have been here when I've done videos, and you can see my breath when I go, because it's so cold in here. Because this room has like no insulation. And you think actually in the summer that'd be great, but clearly not. It's the glistening. I mean, I've got a massive forehead, so it's good, you know. If ever my Elgato key light dies, I can just use my forehead to just shine the light off a mirror or something. Illuminate myself. Love it. 2-0. Wow. Up the Georgia. Love it. Love to see it. Right. Anyway. Predictions time. Shall we talk predictions for the 2024 Austrian Grand Prix? The race winner. This track, it is... There's a driver that has typically excelled around here. Done well. And he does have a car that can win a Grand Prix. I'm going Lando. I feel like, is this the first time I've predicted a Lando? Maybe one other time this year I've predicted a Lando win. But yeah, look, I feel like he knows what he's doing around here. He gave a very good account of himself last year with the upgrade of course, which, you know, there's not that same surprise that McLaren have performance now because they've had performance since this time last year. And also, because they had such a bad start to last year, they got loads of ATR. So, you know, pays dividends in the end. Although I think the ATR refreshes the end of this month, right? So, however, when we come back and look at this graph for the post race on Monday, that will determine. And to be fair, I don't see any positions changing. I mean, unless obviously Alpine, Haas, Williams, Sauber at the bottom. I mean, you might as well, like, if you're... I don't know. I mean, Alpine and Haas are 1 point between them, so... I don't think Haas will be too bothered if they don't outscore Alpine this weekend, just because that's 5% more ATR for next season. But yeah, no, I'm calling a Lando 1 wins to make Lando 2 wins. I think he'll do it. I think he'll get it done. I was going through when I obviously did my stream on Monday, and the dialogue around Lando, and I did see a couple of comments that I was like, you know what, it makes sense, right? Because, you know, some people are just going to hate on a driver and just like dig someone out, you know, just because they don't like them, because they want to rage bait on the internet, whatever. And damned if you do, damned if you don't. I think the way that Lando has come out and taken accountability, you know, he didn't have a bad start. It just wasn't quite as good as Max's. Like, Lewis had a bad start. Ricciardo and Tsunoda had bad starts in, was it Canada when they both had bad starts? I actually remember. But yeah, I think that, like, I'd rather see a driver taking accountability than just blaming bad luck or if worse, throwing nonsense at the team. So I think I think it's people were quick to try and question his mentality as well. All that nonsense about he's running from a fight, not being Max's teammate. Like, come on, like McLaren in a position where they are, right? They were one of the best placed teams to catch Red Bull, and Red Bull were always going to get caught eventually. So to put yourself top of the McLaren tree to fight is a way better opportunity, and to move into a completely foreign team to you, one where Max has been wiping the floor with teammates for years now, literally. Like, come on. I think Lando's he's got the right mentality, he's got the right approach. The wins will come. I do firmly believe that. And, yeah. Time will tell. But I think Lando's going to win the race. What about Banger Drive? Well, I think as someone who's been performing very well recently, the team's made a pretty significant step up compared to where they were at the start of the season. I think they're getting on top of their weight problem. Not to fat shame, but their car was a bit chunky, all right? Alpine, Pierre Gasly, Banger Drive. I reckon Pierre's maybe going to make it through. How many points score? He's got 3 in a row now. He's got a P10, Monaco, P9, Canada, P9 last weekend in Spain. And would he get a point? The thing is, Monaco, Spain and Canada are all very different tracks. So it suggests that Alpine have now found something finally. Again, the fact that Racing Bulls were so trash last weekend and the upgrades didn't seem to get them anywhere. Well, again, the changes, they're not upgrades, they're changes. because there's no guarantee the performance will go up. You know, if anything, more likely to go down in some cases with certain teams. But Alpine have definitely found something. So I'm going Pierre Gasly. He's got some good momentum right now. Up the Pierre. Love to say it. Oui, baguette, exactly. And if couldn't have put it better myself, Pedro Gaseoso. The Spanish version of Pierre. Love it. And they do, yeah, to be fair, Racing Bulls do bring a lot of upgrades. And there's an enforced ceiling at that team. We all know that. We all know that. Oh, Austin. Actually, Austin's shout is great. Tommo deserves a like on the stream. That is, I do. You know what? I do deserve that. I deserve you to just hover over that little like button and just use that 0.0001 of a calorie to just click. It's a little workout for your thing. Click. Like it. Like it. Right, clanger drive. Who's going to stink this weekend? I don't really know, but on vibes, based off a slightly messy Grand Prix and a bit of moaning and a bit of afters, I reckon, and his engine blew up here once recently. When was it? 22? When Carlos Sainz's engine went in Austria. So I reckon Carlos might have a bit of a stinker. I don't really have a particular reason as to why, but who knows, right? I ain't got a Scooby. And neither do you. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I think Carlos has, I don't know, with his approach right now, he knows his future is in that team. Things are starting to get a little bit awkward. Bit of sauce going on that hasn't typically been present. I feel like Carlos Sainz is a fair shout. What justifies a stinker? Crashing, being slow. That's pretty much it, isn't it? If you crash or be slow, because if you don't crash and are fast, then you have a banger, you know. So time will tell. Time will tell. And next banger team. Who is the bangingest team of them all? McLaren. I think Lando will win the race. I hope Oscar keeps it clean in quali. If he can have a decent quali, I reckon he'll be in a good place. So I'm going McLaren, right? McLaren are going to bang this weekend. They were good round Austria last year with the upgrades on Lando's car. I think they're in a good position to move forward and continue to develop. The curbs are a bit cheeky at Red Bull Ring as well. But then, you know, Red Bull own the track, so if they can, maybe they'll stick a few little kind of, I don't know, little challenges. Just, you know, a little press of a button and little spikes come up and just, oh no, Oscar Piastri's tyre popped on the curbs. Oh dear, the Red Bull Ring. Oh no. Max Verstappen wins. Actually, you know what? Sorry, before we carry on, where will Checo qualify this weekend? Because it is becoming a bit of a meme. Will Checo qualify this weekend? So I've got 4 options. So we'll go out in Q1, out in Q2, P6 to P10, or P5 to P1. Because it's a short lap. It's a very short lap. It's all traction. There's a lot of traction zone. So genuinely, I do think he stands a better chance of getting closer to that Red Bull performance ceiling that he can unlock around a track like this than Spain. What am I thinking? Checo, where's he going to qualify this weekend? So, qualify behind Max, behind Lando. I'm going to say behind Piastri as well. Behind Leclerc. Does Sainz have his clanger in quali? Meh. And again, I'm just talking about for the main race here, right? And that's a sprint weekend, but I can't, I don't have the capacity to have independent thoughts for the sprint versus the race, because the sprint is just a short race. So, Russell, Hamilton. I'm gonna say P. I think he qualifies P6. That's my prediction. Your prediction? Will Checo qualify this weekend? 7% of you think he'll go out in Q1. 49% of you out in Q2. Fine margins. 39% P6 to P10. And 5% of you think he'll be in the top. Only 5% of you think he'll be in the top 5 in a Red Bull. It's just... This is what people miss. When, like, that Red Bull is clearly one of, if not the best car still. And Alex deserved to lose his seat when he did, because he was not good enough. He deserved to lose his seat. Checo deserved that seat over Alex. But that doesn't mean Checo now deserves this seat forever, because he's clearly not driving a level that deserves this seat. Deserves, right? Deserves. Merit. Then again, we know Alex is a talent. We know Gasly's a talent. We know Checo's a talent, because they've proven it. So bring someone else in. There's no guarantee that they're just not as far. They're not the same distance off, and you've not actually changed anything. All you've done is say goodbye to all of Checo's sponsor money. So I do that is the only argument. That is the only angle on it that I can look at and be like, yeah, I get it. You put Tsunoda in. Tsunoda's not bringing the bag that Checo is, and there is 3 drivers, 3 known entity drivers in a row. You've got to be able to identify a driver who you can actually look at their characteristics and be like, no, this guy can actually drive it like Max. And Liam is young. He's engrossed in that simulator. That's why I think he'd do a better job than Checo in this car, because it's all he knows. Which is exactly what Daniel Ricciardo said about Lando and the McLaren. The ignorance of not knowing anything else. Not ignorance in a bad way, just... And science, I mean, science doesn't like a car as on the nose as Charles. Charles likes the car more on the nose than Carlos. Well, the whole issue at Red Bull is that Max likes a car that's so extremely on its nose. Do I actually... Just that as a concept, that does not give me confidence that Carlos would do a much better job than Checo. But then Red Bull don't need someone to do a much better job than Checo. They need someone who can do probably in the middle. You got Max there. Checo's like 3-4 tenths back. You need someone like 2 tenths back. And maybe that person would be Carlos. Anyway, moving on. Why am I even talking about Checo? But yeah, more than half of you think he'll go out in Q2. We'll see. I'm saying P6. And then finally, clanger team. Which team is going to clang more than them all? Your clanger team. My clanger team, sorry, is Aston Martin. Changes, upgrades. We'll see about that. Not been very good as of late. And the pressure from Papa Stroll is only going to mount. So yeah, these were my predictions. I did these earlier today, and then I did my day, put the poll out earlier. How many of you saw the poll this time around? I did post it early, but 826 votes. Still, thank you for voting if you did. Also, I forgot to put it in the... Well, I didn't put it in the pin chat. I put my most recent video in the pinned, because why not? If you're sitting around waiting for my live stream, you might as well watch one of my videos. You know, makes sense. I did post it on my YouTube community and Twitter, so maybe next time. But yeah, your race winner for the 2024 Austrian Grand Prix is Lando Norris. Sorry to everyone who thought I froze there. Oh, it's so hot, man. Jeez. But yeah, 43% of you think Lando's going to win. 39% think Max Verstappen's going to win. 9% think Charles Leclerc, and 3% Oscar Piastri. Even though Oscar Piastri has had a bit of a war. There's always people here backing him. I reckon it's you Australians. And I know some of you are awake now because it's 9:30 in the evening. I reckon it's you Australians always backing Oscar. Oh, love it. Love it. But yeah, 43% Lando just ekes out Verstappen by 4% of the vote. What is the temp there? You know, Lauren, I'm not sure, but effing hot. That is the temp. I used to have I had a couple of thermometer things knocking about, and it had like humidity, but I don't know where they are. Either way, I'm cooking, quite literally. Banger drive, 2024 Austrian Grand Prix. Who's going to deliver some, humid, uncomfortable heat, which is what I'm feeling right now? Lando Norris. Again, Lando Norris. 22% of the vote. Quite an even spread though, this one. 22% Lando, 15% Oscar. You Australians. Get back to your shrimps on the old Barbie. Come on, what are you talking about? 13% Charles Leclerc, 9% Hamilton. They're just the blind belief in Oscar. I love it. The blind belief. You've just realised how much I'm sweating, Glenn. I'm glad you can all see how much I'm sweating. This is really what I want. Clanger drive. Who had the stinkiest of stinkers? Who will have the stinkiest of stinkers, should I say? Your opinion is 26% of the vote. Checo. We'll see. I mean, recent evidence does not suggest he's going to have a particularly great weekend, does it? 10% Lance Stroll. Harsh. Lance has actually been driving all right these last few races, so shame on you. I mean, we know he's due an absolute stinker, to be fair. 9% Logan Sargent. Rumours that he could be going to IndyCar. Very strong rumours I've seen from some pretty legit looking sources. Obviously, Prima are joining IndyCar next season, and Logan is ex-Prima. Of course, he was racing in a Prima car in F3. He was racing a Prima car in... What team was he racing for? It was Carlin, wasn't it? It was Carlin in F2. But I'm sure in F3 he was... Yeah, I know in F3 he was definitely in Prima. So, yeah, we'll see. And look, I wish him all the best. I truly do. I backed him for a long time. I think confidence, a bit of a kicker, because I think he had some good opportunities. That Saudi quali, man, the one that got away. And then George Russell, 6% of the vote. Yeah. Oh, George. What do you like, Kay? What do you like? And then a banger team. 44% McLaren. Up the MCL. 14% Mercedes, 14% Ferrari, 7% Red Bull. There's some Ferrari belief in there from the Tifosi. I respect that. I respect you not dogging on your team when you're down too much, all right? Fair play. But you agree, McLaren banger. And then finally, Clanger team, your prediction, 25% of the vote goes to Aston Martin McCutcheon. There you go. 15% Sauber, 12% Williams, 10% Ferrari. So, your predictions, Lando, Checo, McLaren, Aston. My predictions, Lando, Pierre, Carlos, McLaren, Aston Martin. Oh, look at how the McLaren logo gets bigger. That really bugs me. Fraud. Absolute fraud, I tell you. Right, okay. So, predictions done. Thank you all for your super chats. I do appreciate it. I'm going to go through them now. Very kind of you. If you do want to support what I do, £2 a month, you can join the channel and just support. You don't really get anything, but it's just if you fancy it, it's up to you. But you don't have to, no obligation. I will continue doing what I do and putting it out free on YouTube for the world to see. As long as I can get paid via adverts, then wicked. Right, so thank you, Daniel. Big up, Dan. This is the... by the way, Daniel is the man responsible for this worldie of a Williams cap, which is... So there's not a real signature. It's it's stitched on, but it's obviously a child size because it literally. But there you go. What a banger! And whose flag's that? It's Montoya, right? It's Montoya. He's literally got his name on the back. I got him mixed up with bloody Maldonado last time, didn't I? Venezuela. Sorry, my South American geography could do with some work. So thank you, Daniel. Friends of Tommo will be represented for the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend as usual. Going to wear the TOMMO'S racing t-shirt for the GP with Chris. Love it, Daniel. Rep in, good man. Well, yeah, I see a few of you commenting about the t-shirt. This is just a sample, okay? This is just a start sample. The real thing is gonna cook, alright? I'm very excited to get the real thing. It takes ages to get this stuff made, though. It costs a lot of money. It takes ages to get it made. But there you go. Thank you, Jamie, for the super chat. Tommo, did you get a hairy? Well, I'm quite hairy, if that's what you mean, Jamie. I do need a bit of a shave, but also the sweat probably makes me look more sweaty and horrible. But thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Devin, for the 20 USD. Jeez, Devin, legend. Thank you very much. Very kind of you. Big fan. Very rarely get to catch these, but just wanted to thank you for all the great content you've... Stop it. I love the commitment to your brand. You even have your skin the same colour suit your signature pink today. I do. Look, I literally, right, hang on. Let me try it, and if I go over here. Look, it's the same. It's the same as the pink. It is the same. That's actually why I picked it. Did you not know that? I took a picture of myself, right? And then I just, on Photoshop, when you do the colour pick, I just picked a colour right off my forehead. Bosh. That is not true, but it could be today. It could, if I fancied a rebrand today, I wouldn't be far off, would I? So, British Racing Pink. That's what this is called, Sava. British Racing Pink. Oh, I love it. Thank you, Devin, though. Very kind of you. Much appreciated. Thank you for supporting. Thank you all for supporting what I do. Thank you, Ethan, as well, for joining Friends of Tomorrow. Thank you, Taylor. You look like João Pedro. Okay, what does João Pedro look like? How do I spell João? J-O-A, okay. João Pedro. I on what planet do I look like João Pedro? I don't look like João Pedro. No, I'm sorry. I've had some, how would Georgia still 2-0 up about his Portugal, by the way? Crazy. But thank you, Taylor. I don't agree, but thank you. Thank you, WO, as well, for the super chat. Given the hype Oscar has around him for the past 3 years, are you surprised he isn't beating Lando more consistently? I think Lando is very good. I think he's always been very good. Yeah, I think Oscar is an incredible talent, and he's been able to match Lando in one lap pace, and that is a big part of the puzzle, but it's not the entire thing, is it? So managing a race, decision making, Lando's just got more experience. And what was it? Was it Franz Tost who's like, you need to give someone 3 years? Was it? I think it was 3 years. He said, like, after 3 years, you are an experienced driver. Like, second year, Oscar can still be considered, it's only his second season. And then next year, be like, all right, it's his third year. This is his final year to iron out all the creases. And then year 4, like, you should be pretty much there. And the excuses kind of dry up a bit. So I think just where Lando has those years on Oscar. But in terms of, like, natural talent, I don't think Oscar's any less talented than Lando. Not at all. It'd be a big call to go either way, because, I mean, the noise that some of the Prima engineers were making around Oscar Piastri when he was winning back-to-back championships was, this is the best guy we've had since Charles Leclerc, maybe even better. which is obviously a huge compliment. But also Lando showing he can hang with Charles, hang with Max, hang with all these top drivers. So yeah, I still think the driver I'm most like not convinced on is probably George, even though he's the one who won F2 quite comfortably ahead of Lando and Alex. But I feel like, Max is incredible, Lewis is incredible, Charles is incredible, Lando is incredible, Carlos is very good. He's not, but I've never considered him right at that peak. And it's like George, I don't know. He's not quite, even though he's like done such a good job in quality relative to this, it's just not. It's just something missing. I think it's just those chaos moments that I feel like Leclerc and Verstappen were known for and have got out of their systems now. I think George just still's not quite there. But I'm very... And I think that will probably change fairly soon because he does seem to be improving. It's just that these are drivers operating at just this ungodly level and a fraction. Like Max in Spain when he has that moment in turn 7, he almost loses it. Like if he reacts a thousandth of a second, maybe that's all it takes, and he just doesn't quite catch it, and he spins, and he has an issue, and whatever. And it's just those are the instances where like Max will catch those, George will sometimes hit the wall. But yeah, I don't think 3 years in Williams did him damage as such. But I do think that it's tough for him to like look at Mercedes, be so class, take 3 years to get promoted, which is way longer than he wanted, and then when he does get promoted, they're trash. So it's like, I can get why that must be so frustrating. Like, he didn't even get 1 year, and I mean, I've got to say, if Toto had promoted George 1 year earlier and he was Lewis's teammate in 2021, do you think Lewis would have won the champ? Do you think Bottas took enough points off Verstappen? Do you think George would have taken more points off Verstappen than Bottas did? I think he would. I think he would have. But if my nan had wheels, she'd be a bike? Whatever the saying is. Because Bottas in 21 was... No, I'm not disrespecting Bottas. Bottas had many, many good years at Mercedes. 2017, 18, 19. Bottas was trash in 21. He just was. Like... Did you not remember Azerbaijan? Do you not remember Azerbaijan? He was absolutely woeful in Azerbaijan. Like, come on. Let's be real here, people. 2020 was good, No, Lewis was dominant, but he was still pretty good. But 21, no, I'm sorry. 21, no. Thank you, Jamie, again for the super chat. Someone might say aging like a fine wine, one that's gone a bit mouldy. Didn't they found like the oldest wine in the world recently? That's probably the one that I am. I'm probably just as hot and sweaty as it is, found in some cave somewhere from our ancestors. Thank you, M, for joining Friends of Tomo. Daddy Fett, show your shirt to us. No, it's a tease. That's what it is. It's a tease of things to come. Thank you, Gabriel, as well. Most likely for Logan next year, IndyCar, WEC, Formula E, F1 reserve driver. Well, yeah, Gabriel, Gabriel. I'm not sure how it's pronounced, but I'm gonna go Gabriel or Gab. I'm gonna go Gab. No, the rumor is that it's Logan to IndyCar with Prima, because Prima are joining IndyCar next year, and he used to race for Prima. So there could certainly be merit in that. Absolutely. There definitely could be merit in that. Right. I think we're done, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for joining. Go on. Any final little questions and things in the chat? Let me know. I'm actually going to play. You know what? After this, I'm going to play some Fallout 4 because I've been playing loads of Fallout 4 recently, and I've pretty much completed it, mate. As Jay would say, I've pretty much completed it, mate. I've played all the DLC. Far Harbor was pretty good. Obviously, I got into it because of the because then when the TV series came out, and I love the Fallout games. New Vegas is like, and 3 to be fair. New Vegas is better than 3, but 3 is so nostalgic for me. It's like one of my favourite games of all time. So, yeah. I'm also doing a Umuwasa to career mode on F124, and I've just got him to F1. So I've just done the full season, and now I'll put him in a Racing Bulls alongside Yuki Tsunoda. All Japanese lineup. But I've not actually done the first race. But I don't really fancy doing that tonight. It's too hot to be on the wheel, because I have max force feedback just because I want to try and get a bit of a workout for it. But it's far too hot, far too hot today. Nuka World, do you reckon, Devin? I literally Nuka World's the last one I'm doing, and I don't know, I've not really clicked with it. I think all the missions for all the different clans are just a bit So I'm just talking about Fallout, and I'm meant to be a Formula 1 YouTuber, but there we go. Behrman sits higher in the F1 standings than F2 for 4. Well, look, I think that it just goes to show that where you finish in Formula 2, like, it's very hard to correlate because, A, the teams are different. I think Prima are somewhat struggling still. But also, obviously, Ollie's doing all these FP. He's got 6 FP1s for Haas. He lost out on that Saudi weekend where he put it on pole as well. You know, I think that there's so many different factors that come in to determine. I mean, Maloney had a great start to the season and has kind of gone a bit cold since. I think the fact that Paul Aaron's been so consistent is really impressive. He's not winning races, but he's been on the podium every single weekend so far, which is crazy, especially in these new regs as well. So yeah, look, I think that it just depends how much weight. Like Formula 1 ultimately is a different formula, is a different category to F2 in the same way that it's a different category to IndyCar and a different category to Super Formula. You know, these are all open wheel series, but these cars are different tracks, different competitors. Luck plays a factor, especially when you've got Mechachrome engines in the back. So I think that, yeah, I don't know. I don't read too much into it because there's just so many. But that is what makes the seasons that Drogovic did and George Russell did and Charles Leclerc did, these really dominant F2 seasons, all the more impressive. In Oscar as well, actually. I forgot about Oscar. Even Oscar's season, you know, he won didn't he win he got 3 poles in a row or something, or maybe even 4. I think he got loads on the trot, and but again, it's not just the drive, it's the team need to maximise that spec chassis, that spec car that they have. So yeah, it's tough. It's a tough game, F2, but I think, you know, in the same way that Liam came in and proved that he is capable and can do a job in F1, so is Ollie. And Ollie's so young. Kimi's so young. You can definitely see why them two are good. Probably odds on to get opportunities in F1 next year. Jolyon Palmer, Nick De Vries. Lauren, the main one, Stoffel Van Dorn. Absolutely dominated F2. I forgot him as well. Dominated F2. Went into McLaren. But the thing is, Stoff wasn't even that bad. He was up against Fernando Alonso, for crying out loud. Fernando missed extract performance from whatever you're driving, even that rubbish McLaren. Poor old Stoff, Colapinto. Bortoletto. I think Bortoletto is really good. I rate Bortoletto really highly, actually. Really highly. Is Ricciardo... I saw there was an article, wasn't there, from... it was some quote, obviously from Helmut Marko, talking about like shareholders think that Racing Bulls is a junior team, so they need to put a young driver in, and that'll be Lawson. But again, I'm under no illusion that I feel like Helmut and that side of Red Bull want Lawson in a car, and then it was Christian who wanted Ricciardo back in, and yeah, here we are. Right, I'm going to go play Fallout. Thank you all for watching. Oh, also, Georgia for beat Portugal. Wow, it's actually still 2-0. Mad. That's crazy. That is actually crazy. So Georgia are going to qualify. Damn. That is a surprise. But there you go. My name's Tomo. Thank you for watching wherever you are in the world. Don't forget to like the stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're watching on YouTube. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you do your listening only. Rate 5-star. Be nice to me in the ratings. Inflate my ego. All right. Thank you all for coming. Lisa, Eldon, Ethan, Aramba, Jamie, Fury Inferno, Alif, IBK, Abigail, Hagen, RC Parker, Retro, Prithvi, Nicholas, TKF1, Dude Edits, Rainer, IBK, Sam, Lucas, Oodles, Rivethead, Pit Lane, Anonymous, Devin, Anders. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for joining me on this very warm, very sweaty evening. That sounds weird. Bye, everyone.